hex.vision. This is an older website. It focuses on hex on Ethereum, and what it does show, if you have a look at these green bars here, basically every day. Now this is today, that was yesterday, etc, 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 working your way back. Now, can you forecast what is going to happen in the future? Yes, you can. You can go in, use the same tool, and filter it to a different day. You know, tomorrow, day after that, day after that. But I haven't tested that yet. But what I have tested, I went in and decided to put in yesterday's date till today's date. Now, why would you want to do that? You might want to go in and, depending on how you want to do it, if you go, it's basically two similar ways of doing the same thing, that is showing you what stakes are ending. You then can go in, like this latest one here, you can pull that wallet address because everything's on chain. You know, this is the beauty of Hex, and you can go in, have a look, and try and figure out what is happening. You know, why is the price where it is? You might ask that question. You might ask yourself, what is the trend? You might ask yourself, what is the price likely to be on this day? Previously, my first thought was to go through here. You know, you can have a look what Hex is doing on both chains, and you might see, you know, a large spike, a pullback. You might go over here to Deck Screener and select one of the LPs. So this one is V3, Hex, and USDC. So this is just one of them. Again, as I'm saying this live, V3 is interesting in itself because remember, you know, some locations actually removed the ability to trade Hex on their platforms. So maybe, just maybe, some of these, I don't know. You know, that's another variable in this particular question that we're trying to ask. So taking those variables out and just simplifying it a little bit, looking at things like what caused the price to go up and down. Now we see here there was a bit of a pullback, and previously I would have gone through. I've actually done some videos about this, and I would have gone in like, oh shit, you know, someone here, there was a large sell or something like that. But if you zoom out a little bit further and you look at the stakes that are ending and what it is that they're doing, are they large? Do they have the ability to sell, causing the price to go down? And did they sell? What did they do? You know, what caused it? And could you forecast that? Yes, potentially. If you go in and you use this same tool to filter out dates and stakes that are ending. So if you have a look here, Hex staked 10,000, you know, and if that stake was to end, that stake ends, even with big payday, is it likely to be able to move the price in a manner, excuse me, as something that had 10 times that, 100 times that? You know, the answer is probably no. Yeah, so I'm just pointing this out. Anyone can do this for free. Whether or not it helps you, I'm not sure. But my next point is, when you see larger amounts coming out, that might be a little bit more scary, because you might think, well, what if this individual here with 2 million ended? What if they just, you know, dump on the market? You can analyze that. That's why everything's open, transparent. Other systems, you cannot do that. A reminder, this is only HEX. You might even be able to see whether or not they're selling, bridging, restaking. You know, there's a few different things that people can do on this platform, which is HEX. Now, the other thing I was going to cover, I'll do it briefly. This one, so you can go to the most recent one again, scroll down and have a look at some of the details. You know, payout, penalties, amount staked, shares. a couple of other questions and a bit of logic there. I'm not overly familiar with it. Now you can copy paste. You can go to something like stakehex.day, stakehex today. You can change it between USDC and HEX, and you can have a look at what a particular wallet might do. Now, there's a few other ways to do this. This is just the easiest way I've found. There's multiple ways of doing this. So yeah, just this is one way you can do it. It may help you. I'm not sure. Now you can see here this particular wallet. In terms of HEX, you can go in and have a look and be like, okay, so in USD. In dollar terms, fiat terms, this is how much is, the ladder, what it looks like, what it potentially could do. You can go in and have a play, change the projected forecast. So maybe you think in 2024, 25, 26, it's going to hit multiple all-time highs, and then what it would look like. But for the purpose of just trying to get a feel of where you are, I'll leave it for as current. And imagine you're in the current position and you want to figure out what it is you're doing. So imagine if the price did not move at all. If you were to go look at 2024, this particular wallet may end their stake, and it would be unfortunate, but it looks like they would be down a fair bit. Mind you, in HEX terms, they would have more HEX, and that's where you can add in other variables like, well, what would be the break-even point? What would be the point at which they, 2x their money, 3x, 4x, etc., etc. Again, just pointing some of this out. It's worth noting. So, taking into account everything I said so far, if you have a look, the next thing I can think of is relative to the price that we're seeing, not including all the different platforms, all the different LP locations, but just what's the word? Generalize. If we look at this specific LP, we can see here, if you were to analyze what the price is doing, like why is the price going down from here, it might not be so much that some large player has sold a lot of HEX. It could be multiple reasons why. Number one, the amount of HEX that was being minted today. So what I mean by that is, because this is a very simple general analysis. If there's more stakes, more HEX being minted than there was on another day, that would mean that if people want to do, they could sell more, and you could assume that they will. You could assume that they won't, and anywhere in between. But just knowing that on this day there is more, stakes that could potentially end, there is potential for the price to move down. Now, did we see that? The next question. I think we did. However, it depends how deep you want to go and analyze every single wallet within a certain date range. So you could go through and say, well, since yesterday to today, there was 9 closed stakes. You could go over here as well and manually count the lines of how many there are, and it will reveal to you, a story. Now, what is the story saying? So far, a very simple one. You can see lots of stakes ended relative to other days. Like, say for example, this day there was 28. This day there was 201. That was a bit more, close to 10x thereabouts. Now, excuse me. The next thing I was trying to say is, if you see more people ending their stake, right, there would be a point at which a price would move the market. So if you are trading on any day, and if you had like a large sell or large buy order and you see slippage, I'm assuming everyone knows what slippage is. If you see the slippage and it's high, if that day though there was more in the LP, there was more, HEX or whatever you're looking at available, the slippage might be less. So therefore, what I'm trying to get at in relation to price is, if you were to buy on some days versus other days, it may not affect the price as much. Now, an example I can think of that is when HEX was at an all-time high, and you sold, say, $1,000 worth of HEX, or even $10,000 worth of HEX. It may not have had any effect at all, because the HEX that was available on the market there would not be as much slippage when you were selling that. There was also potentially more buyers, but that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about in relation to the price of whichever crypto you're looking at, and the amount you're selling or buying, and how much it's moving the price. If the price is currently, when it was at 0.09, it seems as if you could maybe possibly calculate this, I'm not sure, but you could look at it and get a rough idea that, okay, $1,000, a $10,000 buy on a day like today would move the price up and down more than it would have when HEX was at all-time highs. Now that sounds like very basic, and everyone probably understands this, but if you didn't understand that, now you do. The reason I point that out is, if you were to a company that with some limit orders, but I won't go there now, but if you look at the amount of stakes ending, you look at how much is on the market, you look at what they're doing, are they selling, are they likely to sell, all that, you can tell, maybe if today there was a large wallet, excuse me, I'll try and find one. We could look at, this one here. Again, sorry if anyone's wallet is watching and this is their wallet. I'm not trying to dox or anything. Far from that. I'm just pointing this out. Excuse me. We can take this address. Again, some people might be extremely operationally secure. They might do things that completely try and keep their transactions as private as possible. Now, with a system like this, it's kind of hard to do, because it's all on chain. What I mean though is, maybe they send it to an exchange. From that point, they then put it to another address, and you don't know what happens, because when they go to a centralized exchange, that is, when crypto is sold on that, it's like almost like behind the paywall, behind the wall that you can't see what's behind the curtain. But anything on chain is more visible. Now you can see this wallet here. A stake is ended, and there was, let's have a look, currents in terms of, that's a very, very healthy stake. So someone like this, if they wanted to sell 4.4 million, it would, and even that is down. But that cost 11.4 million, it's down to 4 million. So people are saying HEX is not good. I beg to differ based on this on-chain data. That's not the point of this video. The point of the video is to point out that this individual here, in HEX terms, you're able to see, okay, so there's potentially $500 million, $500 million HEX tokens going onto the market. Now, you could say, well, I would think personally, it's unlikely that someone would want to dump that amount of HEX onto the system. I mean, that's coming from a hexagon, new word, hexagon, who tries to, one of my concerns, even at all-time highs, was to not hurt the price. However, other people may not have felt that way, or just other things. So I would have considered, if I had a wallet like this, that 285,000 is a fairly healthy sum of money. But even with that, with prices at these levels, it's like, okay, how do I sell 285,000 onto this market? Now, people might not care. You might just sell it, eat the slippage, and you get 100,000, 10,000, I hope not 10,000, but you know what I mean. So I would, my initial thought now from here is that maybe you would be, I call it slicing, my latest term, slicing, thin slice, you know, like on a meat slicer, you have a whole bit of meat off the bone and you want to just take little thin slices, and then it's like, okay, the calculation is what is a slice that will not affect the price too much. Now that might crush your mind. So potentially you'd be sitting there. Again, this is someone who cares about the price of HEX, you know, he wants it to go up. Maybe who knows, but other people might be trying to T-share, they might try to be maintaining their T-shares. Yeah, could be. And there is a chance, like I said before, if this was staked for, say, you know, 3 years, they'll now have to stake that out for 4 years, or have to stake it for 3 years and add additional, can't remember a certain percentage based on T-shares, etc. It's not the point of the stream. Back to the point. So if you then were looking at, you know, scraping the interest or just selling that small portion, because to me that would make more sense with a very large, a larger account like this. What would you do? You could go in, you'd have a look, and you'd say, well, it seems to me that where was it here? I think I saw it move from about, you know, almost 1 cent, and it was only on about, where was it? You see 0.7, 0.8, 0.7, sorry, 0.007, 0.06, 7.8, 7.9. So from here we saw 9, and then for some reason it dropped. And it was on a very small amount, so maybe the liquidity is thin in this particular LP. Maybe there weren't many other trades. Like I said, if there's not many other active traders in the system, which is something else you can check on chain, you can see here that it moved down from 0.09 on a mere $500, $600. So if you wanted to continuously each day sell, you know, $500 based on this particular amount, that would be a long time to extract that sort of money. Maybe people want to do that, maybe they don't, but personally, if you care about the price of HEX, maybe that's something you could look at. I don't know. You know, I'm just a dude on the internet. So again, you don't have to listen to me. This is just pointing at some things that I don't know if people are charging money for this, or this should just be common knowledge in any cryptocurrency sphere, you know. It's like how to maintain a healthy ecosphere, especially when you can check on chain everything what's going on, and you can say, well, this, like, you can plan, kind of plan ahead. You go, okay, well, I have this amount's coming out, and I want to extract this. Well, there could be an instance where an all-time high is in, and this is worth 2.8 million, 20 million. And it's like, well, hang on, how am I going to extract 20 million in this? It would be a very similar ratio when selling, because, you know, starting to sell millions here, millions there, millions there would have the same effect as a large sell, you know, even that slippage. But then people are going to do what they're going to do, you know. But in that case, you know, imagine the price is all-time highs. When you got 20 million you want to extract, are you going to be doing it one hit, or are you going to be doing, in that case, it would most likely be, could be 10,000 a day. I mean, that's pretty sweet. Could be maybe 100,000 a day. Maybe, I'm not sure, but then think if 201 stakes are ending, and, you know, each one of them potentially is selling 100,000 in one day. Like, what is that going to do to the LP? We could calculate that. Then you'd go in and say, well, maybe that's going to murder the price. It might not. It might not. You know, it just depends on the day. But as you can see here, small in this instance, smaller amounts can hurt the price a little bit. I mean, that's just what it is. It's not like you can't sell. You can. Clearly, you can. There's enough liquidity, but just the ratio. Just like the smaller the price, it seems to be the smaller the slice of meat you're going to be taking for your whatever you're trying to make. Now, again, this is just me. I hope I get to the stage where I can slice out, I'll be happy with like $50 a day, just taking a little slice every day. Now, that's bad because as soon as you say that, people say you're dumping on everyone's head. But if it's $50 and we're at an all-time high, I mean, it's not, I don't think it's going to affect much, What else? You could then look at, so recap. What did I go through? I basically covered price, how to view liquidity pools. Again, you could check different LPs. Gets more complex beyond my understanding, and how the LPs like affect each other, how they pull and push against each other. Because one thing that would be interesting if there was optimal play, for instance, on how to say you wanted to increase or decrease, because the opposite is true. Generally, if you wanted to increase or decrease the price of an asset, imagine if there was an optimal play by which you could enter into the system and exit out of the system. So, entering into the system, you might want to go a certain route, go through a certain, something. That's not the point of this dream, but that could be potential. There could be potential for that, and I'm surprised communities haven't figured that out, especially with tools like this. I can imagine a website whereby a certain ratio is, it's there and it explains to you that did you know if you sell more than $500 on this day, it tends to knock the price down a little bit. But again, it would be extremely hard because everything's liquid, literally liquid, and buys and sells not LPs. But you could say generally, on a day when there's 201 stakes ending, you could maybe take an average and say, well, this might be a good slice to take, a healthy slice to take. This might be too much, you might run out, things like that. It'd almost be like inventory management. Yeah, that's just another thing I can think of. So price matters relative to the slice that you're taking, and everyone you can clearly see is in a different situation, because we saw that one here, this one, this particular address. Congratulations to whoever this is. Oh my god, that would be life-changing, I would say. And if it was me, I would go, holy fuck, I have that amount of money sitting there. How do I extract it in a healthy way? The question is, do you want to? You might, hate the product and just try and murder it, and so you just try and dump it all at once, which again, if you did that, that would just put the price down. It would then provide, this is the beauty of the systems, but balancing it. It would provide more buying opportunities for other people if they have capital to deploy. And you would be then able to, capitalize on that and figure out how to get, and then you could start calculating T-shares. Anyway, if you are big or small in this ecosphere, you can go in and you can check how many stakes are ending. You can check what price amount in terms of USD, and also in terms of HEX, might be a healthy sell. So to not only protect the system and protect your bags, but protect everyone else's bags. If, for instance, you have a day like today, price is lower, and you sell constantly 250,000, constantly selling $500, in a row, like you just see bam, 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 it would just keep pushing the price down and down. It would reduce your amount that you're selling, you're gaining. It might be wiser to sort of, just take this thin slices. Again, it's hard to say this because in practice, well, not practice, in theory it would work, but someone might need more than that thin slice. I don't know. But that's why, as the system has evolved over time, I've been changing my strategies. Because think about it, if you were at the all-time high and you had $10,000, and you were taking thin slices up until that ran out, maybe that would have been such an optimal play. Maybe you would have missed out on some because the price might have been going down, down, and down. And maybe you're taking a large chunk out now, and you're taking thin slices out. Maybe the price just starts to move up, and you'd be sad that you're selling at lower prices. Again, it's all a balancing act. It just depends. Eventually, though, everyone has to take some profit at some time. The question is, how much do you really need? Now, I believe this was spoken about at length, like previously. I actually did a calculation for my personal, roughly for my personal, everything I would need. And I calculated, like I said, if I could take $50, after not including any fees, so on Ethereum, gas fees suck. Polchain not so bad, but then if you gotta do a 10-step shuffle, 12-step shuffle to get everything out and pay extra fees, that would kind of suck. But if basically I could get $50 out every day, it would make my life much easier. I'm sure it would make your life much easier as well. Now, that doesn't sound as attractive as I bought a Ferrari, but I think, that's probably the best way to end this stream. All right, so hopefully that did make sense without repeating myself again and again. Maybe go back and watch. You could put some links in, but I'm pretty sure anyone who's found this content is and understands crypto is aware of this sort of stuff. And yeah, in the HEX ecosphere, if someone's very small and trying to build their capital, HEX can help you. If someone's they were in early, they weren't a founder, but maybe they were in early, congratulations, as you can see. What else? Yeah, I said I'd wrap it up, so Bill. Excuse me. Yeah. Hopefully, we continue to see some green candles. I mean, here we see constant green candles, which is amazing. And anyone who says, HEX has no use case or anything like that, it's a scam, whatever, have a look, deep dive in, maybe share this with some other people, explain to them, like what is a term deposit? You put your money, you lock it away, you get a certain amount back. Just imagine you can do a similar thing, but maybe the yield differs every day, and maybe there's some more complexities to this system, which far surpass anything a term deposit would provide. However, it would provide potential for more gains, more frequent minting payout, capital gains, a lot more frequent if you ask me. And it could be someone who has been looking for the ladders and the term deposits, which would cost a lot of money to make decent yield, to make a living off. You could probably do that with the same amount of money. You could probably do it and achieve your financial goals quicker, I would arguably say, and that is even without any price appreciation. But mind you, we have seen 90% pullbacks. So do you really want to be, mortgaging, second mortgaging, third mortgaging, fourth mortgaging, fifth mortgaging properties that you don't own to try and chase this? Maybe just take a step back and decide what it is you're trying to achieve here. Instant wealth or infinite wealth? Sounds crazy, right? Is it? All right.